However, pagdating ng araw na tayo'y aatakihin ng China or whatever country atake sa atin, hindi po namimili ng babae o lalaki yung bala na paputukin.
Want that.
May daughters, Mr. President. Tinanong ko sila, gusto nila. May staff ng mga babae, gusto
Alam
nila.
namang sabihin sa'yo hindi.
May I ask, Mr. President,
What is the main intention behind repealing the NSTP law and reimposing mandatory ROTC service for first and second year college students as proposed in the measure? What is the main reason, Mr. President?
The NSTP law is failing us. It fails to it is not producing the needed reserve force of the armed forces of the Philippines, and it fails to achieve its envisioned goal, which is to organize a national reserve corps that can be mobilized in times of disaster and calamities, Mr. President.
Your
Mr.
Honor, we have various and varied experiences. That's why I'm asking for a study with respect to number one, the success or if at all failure of ROTC before NSTP, and a study, a review, findings based on evidence and fact that NSTP was indeed a failure. Because if I remember correctly, Mr. President, Your Honor, no study came out saying that NSTP is a failure. It was merely a statement of former President Duterte and a statement now of President Marcos and a statement of Vice President Sara Duterte that they want ROTC imposed to inculcate patriotism, nationalism, love for country, etc., etc. But I have yet to see a study based on facts and evidence that indeed it is a failure and indeed ROTC is better, because you have to remember, Mr. President, Your Honor, ROTC is still a part of NSTP. I asked that question because the basic declaration of policy when NSTP was passed is almost verbatim with the basic declaration of policy with respect to this new bill, reimposing ROTC as mandatory to inculcate patriotism, nationalism, love for country. Mention was also made with respect to disaster preparedness when the NSTP law was passed. The objective is actually the same. That's why NSTP included ROTC as one of the options, but not a mandatory imposition. By stating that ROTC is now going to be mandatory under the proposed bill, and by repealing expressly NSTP insofar as the other options are concerned, other than ROTC, it's like saying or conveying the message, Mr. President, Your Honor, that patriotism, nationalism, love for country, service for country can only be done through the ROTC program and not the other programs such as the literacy program, the community service program, by which they can show equally, with equal fervor, their love for country and patriotism.
Mr. President, during the time yung old ROTC law was enacted, hindi pa po uso ang gender equality. Ngayon po, our women are always espousing for gender equality. So why not give them the opportunity to serve their country, to fight for this country if needed, Mr. President?
Now, I believe gender equality is being used to offer this to women para yung pagkakataong meron ng lalaki, meron din ng babae. Yun po ang sinasabi ninyo?
Well,
Gender equality ka mo, hindi lang lalaki ngayon. Dapat pantay na, gender equality eh. I-require din natin ng babae, hindi lang ang lalaki. That's the premise. Is that correct, Mr. President, Your Honor?
Yes, Mr. President, kasama na rin yan.
Hindi. Yun ba yun? Hindi sa kasama yun. Sabi mo, gender, Mr. President, the sponsor said gender equality.
Yes.
What is made available to men should also be made available to women. That's what
Including,
gender equality
including,
basically
Your Honors, including LGBTQ.
They're women.
Everyone,
They're women.
everyone.
says. Usually, gender equality, sexes discriminated upon would like equality with respect to the things and opportunities that they like. There is even no data that says women want that. There's even no data that says women want to be equal and at par with men with respect to being required to undergo ROTC. That may be the justification, Mr. President, when you say you're including women, but have you heard from the women themselves if they indeed want that or not?
My daughters, Mr. President, tinanong ko sila, gusto nila. May staff ng mga babae, gusto
Alam
nila.
ka namang sabihin sa'yo, hindi, author ka.
President,
I have no doubt that those who are prepared to lay down their lives for the country, hindi lang ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo, pati ang pumatay ng dahil sa'yo, nag-uumapaw ang pagmamahal sa bayan. Di ba? Kasi hindi naman tayo dapat mamatay lang. Eh. Dapat, di ba? Handa rin tayo para pagtanggol ang kalayaan dahil sa pagmamahal sa bayan. But while I do not diminish it, Mr. President, in fact, I have high regard for it. Why does it seem like those who are not willing to take up arms are looked down upon as persons who do not love their country? Even our national hero did not raise a single sword or a single gun to defend his country and fight for his love for country. And yet he is our national hero. By saying that patriotism and nationalism can only be achieved and taught through ROTC, is like saying that if you refuse to do so, then you most likely love your country less at the very least.